Good morning. It is 9 a.m. August 6th, 2026. I will call the meeting of the DeKalb County Drainage Board back to order. We are here to formally reconvene the public hearing that was recessed July 9th, 2026 regarding the drainage reconstruction project for the Bohler regulated drain number 54-00-0. Let the record show that a quorum of the board is present, as well as DeKalb County Surveyor Glenn Crawford, pursuant to Indiana's open door law. Proper announcement and recording of this reconvened session were made at our prior meeting, and the agenda remains unchanged. We left off with the approval or denial of written letters of objection, and I will now open the floor back up for board discussion of the letters of objection. Anybody on the board?
I would like to, do I make the motion to delay it?
Say it out first and then do the motion, maybe.
So done a lot of listening, a lot of conversations. Everybody hear me? I would like to delay it another 2 weeks, go to decrease the scroll assessment, right? That from, was it $12.96 an acre down to $1,000 an acre. Decrease it down to $1,000 an acre, and then the commissioners would offset the remaining balance, which is about $177,000. I've been working with Tyler on it to resend out the new scrolls to landowners, knowing what their new bill would be. That's about a, what was it, 20% decrease? I think it was, roughly. Decrease it and have the commissioners pay the remaining, which was like $178,000. To do this plan, we would have to delay it until after the commissioner meeting, because even though the three commissioners are here now, we cannot make that official motion to give that money outside of a commissioner meeting, if that makes sense. So my motion is to delay that, this meeting again for 2 more weeks until we have that commissioner meeting where we can approve the $178,000 to go towards this project, or to decrease it down from $1,300 an acre roughly to $1,000 an acre. So, all right, Shannon, is that what my motion is?
Yes, it's discussion. I would say at this time, if the board has any questions or comments for Kellen, and then if the chairman wants to open it up, he can do so.
I'll second his motion.
I have a motion and a second.
Well, I would open it up. If you're going to open it up, I'd open it up first.
Let's hold off on that and then open it up.
Well, they don't vote, or just you have the first and second. Yeah.
We'll open the floor up to anybody that wants to speak. We'll start out against the project. Anything new you'd like to address the board with at this moment?
So let the record show that all evidence taken at the last hearing, including the objection letters and everything, is rolled over into this hearing. If this hearing is also going to reconvene at a later time, all of that evidence will be taken over. But if you wish to say anything else or ask a question, now is your time to do it now.
My name's Tim High, live on County Road 45 in the Indiana handbook laws. I've read it all, and my understanding is that each landowner's land is supposed to be appraised for the benefit or no benefit to figure the monies that you're going to charge each property owner, and that's not what you're doing. You're just throwing a number out there for every acre we own in the floodplain, and that's what kind of monies you have. That's not how the law reads in the handbook that I read from Indiana. I don't know if you guys have read that, but that's how it's read.
Well, understand your position on that. The code says that in section 112 that they can look at certain benefits applied to the landowners. The Indiana Supreme Court has decided that as long as the board and the surveyor's office have said that every acre that's in this watershed is benefited, they can make that decision for a reconstruction. And unless there's other evidence to the contrary, that is very persuasive otherwise, they can make those benefited acre decisions. The sections of 112 talk about some land use can be considered, the value to the property, whether or not there's public protection for flooding, for road damage, everything else, the number of acres in each tract, how the watershed is affected, the land use, the increased value to each tract if you do have a decrease in flooding, et cetera, et cetera. So the surveyor does take those into consideration when they put forth the assessment.
But you're putting assessment of each landowner, if they own 10 acres, it's 1,300 as of right now. My land doesn't flood. I'm not benefited one bit, so I can't see how you can say that I'm benefiting compared to my neighbor, because I'm not. And you're giving the same number to him that he may be benefiting tremendously, and I'm not benefited zero.
Understand that that's your position. However, the Supreme Court of Indiana has said as long as you are in the watershed, you do get benefit for runoff. And so understand why some people are a little bit higher ground, some people are a little bit lower ground, but that's the way the code is set up for all of the neighbors in the watershed, that's how they're treated.
But you're supposed to calculate the difference in damages or benefits in monies, not tell everybody they got paid the same. That's how I read it. That's how my attorney reads it, so.
That's fair, and that's on the record for presenting here.
Good morning.
Terry Richardson, County, or 4516 County Road 28. I just had a question. I missed part of the last meeting. So I was just wondering, I know there's been talk about putting a 30-inch drain in rather than whatever another size is. I'm just wondering, is the reason why you want to put a 30-inch drain in is because there was, at one time, there was supposed to be an ethanol plant that was proposed to go in, but then they did some studies and they found out that the ethanol plant uses a lot of water, and so they couldn't get rid of that water. Is there plans for an ethanol plant to go in? Is that why you want to use a 30-inch tile? No, okay. So what is the reason for the 30-inch tile as opposed to, like, I don't know, what would be the next size down tile?
A 24 would be the next size down tile, but it's expected to be a 30-inch because of the watershed. The old design did not include anything north of the tracks or the Hugh Jackman lateral. So now we're trying to catch the entire watershed, and the tile is so flat from the ditch to where it goes up that hill. In order to maintain 2 feet per second velocity in the pipe, we had to upsize it to a 30-inch. The 24-inch could handle the capacity, but with how flat the grade is, it wouldn't be 2 feet per second, and it would cause silting up in the tile.
Okay. And then I have another question. The water that comes off of like County Road 28 or any road and that goes onto the property, so does the county have any responsibility for part of this project payment because of the water running off of the road or any road onto a owner's property?
Yeah, so the county highway, they have to pay their portion to the
Okay.
drain. They get assessed the same as everyone else, and then they're responsible for maintaining the road edges, berms, into their right-of-way, and then they get billed for the amount of acreage they own.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
And that right away comes off the owner's properties.
Yeah, yep.
Anyone else in the audience want to speak against it?
I'm Jim Ely, County Road 43. I still don't like the project because the fact that 60% of my ground does not run into this tile. I have 24 acres that is partially owned, I think, by federal government that I'm paying on. And there's only 20 acres of this ground that even benefits what you're going through which has only got a foot of cover. I don't know how you're gonna cover a 36-inch tile. I guess it's not 36 that far, but the tile that's in there is only a foot underground, and how much of my field are you gonna tear up to bury it deeper, which is already level with the creek? Do I have any answers?
You're wanting to know how much we're gonna tear up your field?
Yeah, how can you bury the tile deeper when it's only a foot underground now and you're going bigger tile?
We dig it deeper? I mean,
How can you go deeper when it's already level with the ditch?
So the 30-inch tile here,
it's not 30-inch all the way up to your property.
No, but it's gotta be bigger.
right, but the grade on the 30-inch is flatter, which
I
allows
heard it
us
was
to be,
completely flat now.
which allows us to be deeper further up, because we don't have, like the 24-inch, if that was 24-inch, we'd have to run a steeper grade, and we were shallower, a lot closer to the outlet. By the 30-inch allows us to run flatter and keep the flow rate so that we can get more depth and more cover throughout the rest of the project.
I don't know how you can run it any flatter when it's flat now. Or almost flat.
We're also gonna start off the ditch lower than what it's at now.
It's already underwater when it rains.
A lot of them are. How head pressure works.
I don't understand it. It still don't solve the problem. My ground all runs into this wetland, which is not even mine, really. I can't do nothing with it. I get nothing from it. 24 acres. And you're charging me $1,000 an acre. Plus the ground around it all runs into this, not into the ditch. I'm sorry, I'm upset.
Anyone else like to speak against the reconstruction? We'll now open it up for anybody for the reconstruction that'd like to make any statements, new information. No one? Very good. Anybody else on the board got any questions or comments?
The commissioners have talked, and obviously, like Commissioner Kellen said, no decision has been made. We have to do it at a public meeting. But the commissioners are seriously thought about what we can do to lower the cost to everyone. And we're trying to work through that. The other part that we're trying to work through as well is looking at extending the payments from the regular 5 years to maybe 10 years to help everybody in that situation make lower payment half. The problem is that the state mandates a 10% interest rate, and I've contacted our state legislatures more than once asking that the state legislature change that. It's outdated, but it needs to be revised to a lower. I don't know why it was 10% in the beginning. Nobody seems to know that. So that is the real reason we're trying to work through those two items as commissioners, and hopefully that's the only reason I think that we want to wait 2 weeks so that we can, at our next board meeting, a week from Monday, make those decisions to help everyone get through this. And so I would hope that everyone at least figures that we're trying. We're certainly trying to help everybody in this situation. My thought is still that this tile was put in 1875. I'm sorry, the life expectancy of that tile is way, way beyond what it should be. And at some point, this happened, this hearing was, what, 16 years ago, I believe, if I'm correct. The first time, the cost would have been probably 3 times less than what we're looking at now. Does that mean that we put this off, we don't fix the problem, and the county is still liable when somebody comes off County Road 28, when it's froze over, upsets and dies like that young man did last spring, and the county gets a lawsuit, how many of you are personally going to put money into that lawsuit that's going to cost the county? None of you want to do that. I mean, we're talking multi-millions if that happens. The county has a liability there that needs to be solved. You each have your own opinions, and I respect those opinions, but at some point, even if we go in and try to fix just the part in the woods, possibly, it's still not alleviating the problem that as we continue, and we all know this as farmers, that a tile only lasts so long. You fix this one, and as soon as you touch the next one, it falls apart. The life expectancy of this tile has way gone beyond what it was expected to do. So I would entertain any conversation myself after the meeting, because it's now just the board's turn to speak. So if you have other opinions, I'll stick around for a bit.
We'll take the board's discussion. If somebody has a question after that, you'll be more than welcome to speak again if you have something after any of the board members speak. Steve?
I'm good. Get it.
Terry, anything?
I just want to reiterate that, I mean, the commissioners aren't in the duty of putting money into drains, but we got to get the water off of County Road 28, because I witnessed the young man that died this spring because water was across the road on one of these projects that is coming up. So that's the purpose of the commissioners, is try to lower the cost to you guys and to help the county get the water off that road.
You just have to figure out how long, what day we reschedule it to. That's kind of up to the board. It has to be at least past the August, what is it?
20th.
Yeah, the next commissioner meeting is August 17th, so it has to at least be past that point.
We do have 2 hearings on the 20th already set. Just
Looking at the third.
FYI. Which doesn't mean you can't do it, just the time will be different than 9 a.m.
Whatever the board wants to do. I'm fine with whatever. The 3rd.
I want to do it as soon as possible. We've kicked it down the road long enough once we get past the commissioners meeting, so.
I agree with all the objections that were made based on cost to benefit. Everyone that made that as their objection, I agree with it. The system is not a good system. I feel like the landowners for those parcels are paying forward on a long-term investment, and you will not receive that. I'm a little concerned. We have even some of the people for the drain. If it was more than what it is now, would you be for the reconstruction? Is there anybody here that'd like to speak on that, or anybody against it? How low does the cost have to be before you would agree with it?
Mine is part 2 of your question. Tim Shop, 2989 County Road 43. You're setting the value hopefully at 1,000 or less. What is our assessed per maintenance supposed to be for this now? We're already being taxed on the ditch. What is that projected to go to?
On the maintenance?
Yeah, because you already charged us 1,000, now you're going to charge us more money on maintenance, which is a perpetual amount. Have you figured what that continuation of maintenance is supposed to be?
Do we have that in
The maintenance rate's gonna stay the same as what it is currently. And, once if the reconstruction happened and when it was completed, we wouldn't collect maintenance over the time of, paying back that reconstruction. We have some rules on the maintenance of how much we can collect. We can only have 4 years of collections in the maintenance account. So if that maintenance is collected, for 4 years in a row and no work is done on that drain, it's it's maxed out and we're not allowed to collect anymore, towards that maintenance amount.
I guess a silly question, would everybody, the landowners be willing to pay increased maintenance to reduce our per acre cost? Spread it out. Instead of 5 years we're paying for, that's a reasonable way to, you know, I got $15,000 on ground that doesn't see water. All the water that Jim and I have in our ground comes upstream because it's backfilling the pipe and it's blowing out of the standpipe. It's not going in, it's blowing out.
That's what we're up against a little bit with the code. I mean, I think the correct way it should be done, it should be some system where a landowner is not hit with a huge bill, who's not gonna benefit from that. You know, anyone with any substantial, it doesn't matter what, if it's substantial, it might be substantial to everyone that's getting this assessment, and you're kind of paying it forward. It's not necessarily an investment for you, because you're never gonna see the financial benefit from this reconstruction. Especially if you're only gonna live there another 2 years. You're basically paying it forward. That's what I struggle with this whole thing. And right now, the board does not have a good option to fix that. So even if we do a tiered assessment, it's pretty hard to get these assessments still very low. I don't think anybody's gonna be happy.
Well, no, that's my issue. If you could raise the assessment,
Right.
the maintenance cost
Right.
to a substantial, I don't know, 2-3 times what we're currently paying, which is not that much, take that money back and rebuild these units as it comes back in and use your 4 years. You know, I've managed businesses before. It's always a matter of want versus need. Yes, I'd like to do it all. Do I need to do it? I don't think so.
Problem with that's gonna be, we cannot move tile or update tile or change the size of the tile if it's not considered a reconstruction. Is that right, Shane?
Correct.
So if we try to do it through the maintenance, we cannot increase the size, we cannot move the size, we can't do anything. So we're running up against the code at the state level that's causing some of the problems. Even with Shannon and I have had a lot of conversations about extending it out past the 5 years to give you guys, so you don't have big hits right off the start. The urban drain allows you to do 20 years. Regular drains are 5 years. I'm trying to make the argument with Shannon, or have her make the argument, I guess, she's my lawyer, is that this is a large project that the intent of the 20 years was that urban drains are more expensive. This is a large, expensive project that we should be able to push it out over 20 years. Also, to decrease the payments for you guys. At the same time, if we're doing that, as Tyler said, we cannot collect maintenance while we're still collecting reconstruction fees, so you're not going to get hit twice during that time period. And if they did the reconstruction correctly, which I have to assume, there shouldn't be a whole lot of maintenance that should be going on that at all until the reconstruction's been paid back. But we're running into, your logic makes sense, but the state is handcuffing the board here with some of those things, because and Shannon can attest to you, I've been having lots of phone calls with her saying, I want to stretch this out longer because that makes more sense to me. Instead of having a huge hit in a couple of years, this is a big one. It should be spread over 20 years, just like urban drains are the same.
But is it the classification you're saying reconstruction versus repair? If you classify it as a repair and do the sections to sections, does that get you around that law? Because again,
No.
don't term it reconstruction, term it repair.
Right.
Never change in size or depth or.
Well, why did you, I guess, from the creek to just east of County Road 41 has already been replaced to the standpipe on Mr. Buckles' property. So you go from there back to Jim Healy's property to the next standpipe, don't increase the size, correct it, replace what is broke down with the same size that was there. And again, term that maintenance, not reconstruction. The terminology can determine how we're going to get schmucked.
I leave that up to the surveyors. Sorry, Glenn, to throw you on the bus on that one, but I leave it up to him of what he feels that needs to be done. I mean, I don't want to do drains or anything like that, so.
We know the section between County Road 41 and 43 is incorrectly done. There's a hump in it, which is why the water blows out. So correct that with a repair, not a reconstruction. Change your terminology and give us some flexibility.
Well, right there, you said it's got a hump and it needs corrected. That'd be changing the grade of the tile, correct?
But replacing the tile, you're just doing it correctly. You're going to dig it up. So again, you're splitting the hairs with functionality. If you have to dig the tile up, You don't know what the tile was, you only know what it is, so you're gonna put it back in correctly. That doesn't mean reconstruction, that just means repair. And again, change our assessment, so it's not $15,000, we're gonna get less, and pay for it over the 4 years. I think a lot of people would be much more inclined to accept that. And again, it's the terminology of what you're using to change the application. If you go in and you replace a tile, get blowed out. Are you changing the grade when you replace that? Are you? I don't know. Do you know? You know you're repairing the tile. You're putting it back in correctly. Same thing. Put it back into the sections, increase our yearly taxes, and use your 4 years wisely.
You know what it collects right now?
Like 3,000 a year.
5,000 a year.
5,000 a year?
We did, Mr. Shop, that Fred Knott did do a maintenance project on this. He tried to go along the drain and fix it on maintenance, like what you were suggesting, back in 2012, maybe, somewhere around there. And he came back and said, I think he ended up spending around like $50,000, and came back and said basically that it needs reconstructed. He did all he could do, but he didn't anticipate that it was gonna hold up or make a significant difference. So from when we've had it open, that tile just collapses pretty easy. It's pretty difficult to find a viable section to tie back into when we go in there and replace. So, you know, it's a lot of those indications that would make us hesitant to try to do a large maintenance project on it, right? It would end up probably mostly replacing all of the tile.
You've already replaced the tile from the creek to east of County Road 41.
What's that?
You've already put all new tile in from the creek to east of County Road 41 to the standpipe. That was replaced in 17. That was, you had to close County Road 41, you dug underneath of it, you tore it all up, you put all new tile in from the creek over to that standpipe to probably Stevens' property.
Do you remember anything about that? Do you remember anything about that?
That comes from living there 40 years. We know what we've living, you know, that's what we've done.
Sure, we have no records of a reconstruction for that section being allowed to relay that tile, so.
So whose fault is that our fault that we have to pay for lack of records?
I don't think you're paying for a lack of records.
Well, is he talking about what Fred Knott did? Or he's talking about something different?
2017, one of the contractors dug up from the creek to east of County Road 41. You had to go underneath 41 because 41 was closed. You dug it down because it was like 12, 15 feet into a standpipe right on the corner.
That may have been Fred Knott of what I was talking about when we tried to go do that maintenance project to get it operable. That could have been him, that bottom section was in bad shape. He was trying to work his way from the bottom up.
So now we pick up what he replaced and just do another section the same way. Again.
Well, you could, yeah. I mean, that obviously didn't work very well.
I think it worked well. From 40 years of living there, it worked really well.
I think County Road 28 probably shows different.
Well, do we need, the county just came down on my road, which is 43, and redug a ditch that didn't have any water standing in it. So my question is, okay, do we redo the ditches on 28 so that it drains? Have they been out there to observe that?
They all drain to our drain. Those roadside ditches on County Road 28.
They go down to the ditch.
They come to the.
They go down to the ditch.
Yep.
They don't go down to the drain.
Where all the road.
Down to the creek.
Okay. Where all the road flooding is on County Road 28, it drains into the Bohler drain. There's a structure on the south side of County Road 28 that takes all of that roadside water.
Yeah, east of that, but west of that, which is where the water was standing.
No.
That ditch needs to be reconstructed, and that would not go to the drain, that would go down to the creek.
And zoom in there, Troy. Down to the road. Other way, Troy. That's right there.
Gotcha.
There you go. Yep, it floods from where our drains join right there to the east of that. That's where all that substantial flooding is. All of that roadside ditch drains to our Bohler drain, and there's a structure right there where those two drains meet up, right where those three colors are. there's a roadside structure right there with the inlet, that's supposed to take the water, but the tile's all demolished on there. It's just full of, dirt and broken down, so it can't
Water,
take any
yeah,
of the
the
water.
normal water standing is to the west of where you're indicating,
No. It's to the east.
to the west.
Nope.
Because it's right in front of where we do the hayfield. There's a house, if you go to the west on your map, a little further.
On Beacon, you can pull it up on Beacon, it shows the water on the overflow, it's to the east of 45.
Because when you top the hill at 43 is when the sign goes up, because in front of Mr. Richards' house is where the water stands.
It might go that far over too, but you can look at my computer right here, it shows.
On the road, yeah.
That's all flooded right there on the picture they took when they did an overflow. That's all to the west.
East.
East, I'm sorry, east, you're correct.
But it typically does it west, so. Okay, again, that's just, I'm trying to get the terminology to an advantage of the landowners,
Go zoom in there, Troy.
changing the terminology to give you some flexibility.
There's your flooding right there. East side.
That where it's crossing the road, though.
Yes.
There's the top.
So if they worked on the road ditch from there to west, which is where, again, you may have that shown, it floods more to the west than the east. Because when you top the hill, that's where the high water signs are. Your snapshot is a snapshot, not historically maybe. I can tell you historically. So again, I'm trying to get the terminology, get a little flexibility for everybody. I appreciate the effort to drop it down from 1,300 to 1,000. It's still 1,000.
What number would,
What number would be okay with you?
what number would be okay for reconstruction?
What would it be worth to you?
What would it be worth?
Yeah, what would be agreeable for you on a per acre cost?
On a fair application of benefits, I could see 300 to 500. Fair application of benefits. Because again, if you go according to Indiana Code 36-9-2752, under section, would be D3, yeah, D, item 1 and 2. The cost, damages, and expenses of proposed reconstruction will exceed the benefits. Do you have to submit an analysis to the state of Indiana for approval to show that you met the requirements of their laws? Because that means you have to appraise the property with and without water. And if we don't have water, how are you going to say you're going to do the benefit? Because you got section 1 and section 2.
Although you may not have standing water on your property, it still contributes in the watershed, right? Your runoff is still gonna go to that drain. So you can't really do it by a measure of standing water. Of course, the lower areas are gonna hold the water.
There again, how do you justify, if you justify that rule, 1 and 2, do you have to submit justification? How are you going to do it? How are you going to make it comply? You can't pick and choose.
That you are in the watershed.
But there's no benefit. I was up top of the hill, and I had a pond like Mr. Ely has, where all of his water goes there, and the only water coming back up is blowing back up through that pipe. Because we can stand out there, we can watch the water come up through the pipe. Not down, it comes backward. That means that the pipe,
I agree with you, and I've spent quite a bit of time looking at a tiered system, and even doing that, it is not lowering the assessment enough where I think people are gonna be happy. Cause I still want getting it down to around 1,000, that was before the commissioners.
yeah, and we appreciate that.
So I'm getting it down to about $1,000 an acre. That's where I'm saying the whole system is not good, and I don't know how we can fix, to correctly fix the way the system is right now, we can't do it ourselves. The board cannot do it, we cannot do it quick. So the only other option we have would be to go down the reconstruction completely.
I said, you've got some of it you've already reconstructed. I think just continue the improvements. It's just, I think you're going way past what's necessary.
The hard part with that is it's also very undersized, and it just can't handle the capacity of the watershed. I mean, in 1875, how many houses do you think were in that watershed?
Agreed. And how many businesses are using it that maybe contribute more?
But they are paying more.
Are they? They're paying the same as we are.
No, they're not.
Their assessment's gonna be $1,000 an acre, just like ours. You're not,
Yep, I stand corrected.
Maintenance is different. The maintenance is different. They pay
Yeah,
more for the
I'm
maintenance.
sorry, yeah, I was thinking maintenance. My apology, I'm wrong.
the maintenance I wouldn't mind increasing. I mean, that is insignificant. But the 1,000 an acre is not. And there again, are they contributing to the solid surface area or the pacted surface area far more than us who raise grass
Well,
and have water absorption? Again,
I think everybody needs to understand that if we take your assessment down, everybody else's is going up. For every one you take down, everybody else is going to pay more.
if I was having a facility, a factory, that if I paid twice and I could make the percentage of profit off of that, I wouldn't mind doing that because I'm recovering the money. I am not recovering the money. There is no income increase by doing this. A farm that gets a ground drainage is an income increase. You're returning your ROI, your return on an investment for that person exceeds what we get. We get zero, we get negative.
What if your basement was flooding?
Not doing it.
But there's other people's basements that are flooding from
There is.
water in the
I
watershed.
understand Mr. Tucker had his, and I talked to Bill. I said, why don't you put a backflow valve in like I did to stop that 2-day event? Yes, it cost me $1,500, but you know what? That's one time. That backflow preventer stopped the basement flooding. So, again, that was my cost for a backflow preventer. So, again, I'm just trying to do this through a business decision. If I was going to make a return on investment, I'm not getting any money back. It's like buying somebody a car, give it to them and walking away and you're still making payments on it. You get no benefit from it.
Thank you.
Jacob Walker at Walker Farms, 4275 County Road 22, Waterloo. I appreciate the discussion on, and would like to continue some, Bruce, with your question on, or discussion on the benefits to different parcels, different land, different acres. Very much appreciate some of the comments from the surveyor. I'm gonna kind of echo some of that of, you take a house, the infiltration on an acre of farm ground or woods, you take a house, if we want our e-spouts draining in, I mean, the watershed by definition, every inch of rain that goes in that watershed contributes the same amount to the watershed. There is no difference of contribution per acre. The only difference, in my opinion, is you take a house, a driveway. I think the surveyor may be able to help me out that that's a 1-to-1 infiltration rate. You're going to get 100% of that water to the watershed immediately. The guy on the high ground that's got the house that's flooding the guy in the low ground, is that only a benefit to the guy in the low ground? I would argue that pretty strongly that the guy with the eave spouts hooked up on the top end of the drain gets just as much benefit as the guy with the water standing that his basement's flooding on the low end. And if we can't fix some of this, as long as this has went on, I mean, we can play politics, blame it on the state, all the policies we got to abide by. I'm not sure that the code is as broken as what we think it is. It was set there for a reason. And again, an inch of water is an inch of water. It's just a matter of how fast does it get to the drain. And a house, it gets there immediately. A driveway, a road, all these, anyway, you get my point. If we can't get there, I think we ought to think about building moratoriums in the watershed that, hey, we just can't take any more. Anything we put on there, new driveway, new buildings, we're gonna put more into the drain immediately. We're just flooding that low ground even more, putting more stress on the system. And, again, just because one guy's property does not flood, does not equal there is no benefit. They've got eave spouts, they get the same inch of water that the other guy does. And and as your part two of your question of what would be an acceptable or unacceptable number, my easy answer is 15 years ago, so that was a very, very acceptable number. And if we go another 15 years, it's not. And we're in between that, and we got to figure it out.
Everybody does not benefit equally, especially not on a financial standpoint. My biggest problem with the whole thing is this is a return on investment for you guys. A lot of them, it is not. It is a huge expense. Not saying they all need
to Glenn's point, he brought up, and I was going to ask the same question when a basement floods. If we can't build a building, if I own 10 acres and I want to build a building, and we got to put a moratorium on this because we can't take the water that comes off of that.
That's not the point.
Is that a benefit or isn't it?
You understand the point that these people are getting hit with a large expense. They're paying it forward. Are you going to keep this ground for 50 years that you're wanting to have drained?
Possible.
You going to sell it next year if you put $130,000 in it?
I guess I'm not following your question.
You're not going to invest a lot of money into something that you're going to get rid of. If you're going to trade a combine in, would you go spend $90,000 on it and trade it this fall?
No to the combine.
That's where the system is flawed. We're penalizing the people who are there right now. The person that buys it next year, they're good. They'll never have to pay into it.
If that property, if the basement floods, the guy that buys it the next time they're going to pay a discount or they're going to buy it at a discount.
That's right, but it's still not cost to benefit. It's still not what they're at right now.
But Bruce, you can make the same argument that the drain was paid for before any of these people built it too, and they paid it for it
That's
also.
what I'm saying, and how many people were
Back in
involved
1875 or whenever this was done,
You paid for it.
15 years ago, what landowners were different. And again, I think that was the acceptable number.
Tell me who paid for it in 1875.
I can't answer that.
How many people you think was in that watershed in 1875?
A lot,
How many people you think wanted that drain in 1875 that were in that watershed?
probably a lot.
Probably every one of them.
Yeah.
Because they all were going to benefit from it for the next many, many years. Not the same scenario today.
But the land,
People are not
Wanting
going
it
to
and
benefit from it the next
benefiting,
many, many years like some will.
So you're telling me that a guy that has a house that basement floods, you're telling me that he's not gonna benefit anything to keep water out of his basement?
I said everybody benefits.
That's what you keep saying.
No, it's how much are they benefiting?
If you got a basement that's got 4 foot of water in it, you're gonna benefit a hell of a lot
How many
less.
people, and how many people in this watershed have that issue?
If I live beside an interstate, do I need to pay less county road taxes?
If you live
Because
in,
I don't drive on the county roads as much because I get it straight on the interstate?
does this have anything to do with county roads?
It's the same concept.
No, it's not.
My car goes right to the interstate. If my water, and I'm sitting right on the ditch,
And the way the system, if you don't like that, get that system changed. That's what I want to do with the way these are paid for.
I will interject here, the benefit factors of 112 have nothing to do with return on asset of the ground. It does say increased value accruing to each tract from the reconstruction, construction, or maintenance of the road. But in my opinion, legal opinion, looking at the code, the fact that you make money off of the ground is not part of the benefit factors.
make money.
It's only if you're benefiting from the water getting away. Now, if your basement floods, yep, that guy's gonna probably he's gonna get more benefit because his house value is gonna go up. So that's one of them. We're getting a little far afield about whether or not the ground makes money, and the code really doesn't necessarily look at that.
It's how they're benefiting.
And my point was as much about benefiting, but as contribution to the watershed. Every
Everybody needs to
acre
contribute.
is an
There's
inch.
There's no,
And if we're going to contribute to something, you know, the cost has got to get divvied up somehow. And again, they got to, everything that contributes has got to contribute to the cost of the replacement.
I agree, everybody needs to contribute.
Yeah.
So even if this, everybody needs to contribute and the cost of the benefit is not
Yeah,
fair.
I'm not sure we'll agree on benefit or not. Again, the guy that's five foot higher with a house and the guy that's 5 foot lower, I can see the guy that's 5 foot higher says, I don't benefit as much.
If you do any research on any of this, the board is mandated to do a fair assessment on benefits. If they did not have that in the code, why do they have that in the code? That's basically what they're stating. They do it on fair assessments. And it talks about everything you talked about, roads, houses.
Come
even
back,
houses.
and we could go a lot of different ways, but just one example, if we have to stop building in this watershed, does that devalue any of that land? Is that a benefit or you know, the opposite of if we don't? And I just don't see that there's a ton of options here that 15 years ago that should have got done. Let's not kick this again.
And you could have done a consent waiver 15 years ago and been way much further ahead.
I think we're getting a little off topic here, Bruce. The question that we have in front of us now is, do we want to delay it 2 more weeks to reevaluate? We're not making the motion is to delay it or not at this point and go to this new scroll.
We need to delay it to try and figure out, we need to delay it just for that reason, and I think we need to have a tiered system at minimum. That's about all we can do right now.
The benefit, we're not having, the conversation right now is on, the question and seconded is, do we lay it? We're not making a decision yes or no on it at this moment. So.
Michael Richardson on County Road 28. You said that the cost of the project was $1,300 and you got it lowered to $1,000 per acre.
That's the plan.
In the most recent letter that we received, it said it was $1,050 per acre was our assessment. So we're a little confused on that.
My proposed plan that I proposed today is that we're going to go to the commissioners to have the surveyor put a scroll together to have it at $1,000 an acre. Whatever's left over, which Tyler I've already shown, is $178,000. Go in front of the commissioners. I know the 3 commissioners are here at this time, but we can't make that motion outside of a commissioner meeting to say, hey, we're willing to put $178,000 in, so then that would decrease it down to $1,000. So the motion is now to delay it today so that we can make that motion of $1,000 at the next meeting, because we need to see if the commissioners are willing to, even though the 3 of us are here, we can't legally make that decision outside of a commissioner meeting, which would be on the 17th.
Right.
That makes sense then? So I'm not sure what letter you got, though.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
What did you say the assessment was?
1,050, if memory serves.
I'm showing 1,296.93. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what it should have been. It should have been the 1293.
Okay.
So.
The second question, once we decide that we're moving forward on the project, is this price going to be locked in? Because it's a long duration project.
That's just an estimate that you received, so that's just based on our guess of what it's going to cost. We always try to keep our engineer's estimate on the high side. There's a rule in the state code that says you cannot exceed it by 10%. If it exceeds by 10% at any point during the project, it has to stop, and we have to come back to and resume the hearing, right, Shannon? Something like that. Yeah. So
is this project bidded?
it will be bid. Yep, absolutely. So we always hope that it comes in underneath our engineer's estimate. This is ideally the worst case scenario for the amount of expense. So we could get some competitive bids. Material could be down in cost since the last order of the numbers that we have, and so it could come in underneath that engineer's estimate.
So if we have that competitive situation, is there no contractor that would ink the deal and say, I'm going to guarantee we're going to stay at this price? There is no contractor out there that will do that.
It pretty much is on their bids. It's
when they do the bids, it is.
Yep, when they bid, that is their price for installing that material, or from the manufacturer we buy the material from, we buy the tile from. That is their price per foot on all of that.
But we can't get the bids until we make the motion to go ahead with the project.
Yeah, we
We're
only
at
bid
that
after.
first step first before we can go get the bids.
Okay,
If
okay.
the bids come over too high, then we just,
We redo it.
We redo
can
it.
redo the bid or cancel the reconstruction, right? If it just, they come in way too high because they think it's too difficult of a project or too big, then we wouldn't just accept way higher numbers.
Are there any state or federal grants available to help with projects like this?
Not really. I've tried to research that and find as much as we can. I mean, none of this is fun for the surveyor's office either. We get a lot of heat for it, and we don't enjoy it. We enjoy it less probably than everybody who's in the watershed. It sucks pretty bad. So I've done my best to look for alternative ways to handle it, to find extra funding, but there's just not much out there to help with it, unfortunately. So it's
All right.
if you ever find something, pass it on. Yeah, call us and show us. I mean, we're more than willing to try for any grants or anything like that we could get. It just don't really exist as far as I know of.
I'm on the Maumee River Basin Commission as a representative for DeKalb County, and I've asked several times from the director, because he knows all about these grants, et cetera, and to this point, there's been nothing that we can use for county drains.
Okay, okay.
Their work is all on, but he knows state and federal, and
Right.
he says, so far, there's been nothing that's been available.
All right, thank you.
So we are trying.
In 2017, when they came through and they dug up on our ground, they made quite a mess, left gullies, high-low spots. We were told that they were going to come out and repair it. That never happened. With this project, could they do a good job and leave with the ground level?
Yeah, that would be our goal. And, on a reconstruction, after we put that tile in the ground and just cover back up with dirt, there will be a berm over the tile. And a lot of people don't like that at first, but we always recommend, and if they really are adamant about it, we'll come doze it down for them. But we like to leave that for settling, right? Over time, as you get rain and all that dirt starts to pack in there, it will settle down more towards level. Usually after a year, if it's still a pretty large berm, we'll have the contractor go back out with the dozer and doze it down. A lot of farmers will want it a little bit more leveled out so they can plant it that following year, or maybe it's in a horse pasture and they don't like the big berm. So we'll follow it up later on down the road to go level it out. If it's in like a pasture or through a yard, we'll reseed it at that time and get it back to original as possible as we can. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And thank you, everybody on the board, for your due diligence in this.
I'll make a real quick comment on, I'm sorry, Mr. Ely, go ahead.
I had a couple of questions. When you redo this ditch, are you going to cover it with topsoil or the clay underneath?
But it'll be covered back up with the existing dirt. So typically when the contractor is digging there, they'll set the top layer of topsoil off to one side, and as they go down further, they get into clay. They usually try to set that to the other side. So that when you refill, they try to get that good dirt back on top as much as they can. No additional dirt is brought in to cover up the tile or anything like that.
The other thing I had was, I told you 60 acres of my ground drains into this federal wetland. My overflow for that wetland is 12 inches below the overflow. That's how much water out of my wetland and 60 acres goes into this tile. Very little.
I want to make clear on the cost of benefit on my view on it. Everybody benefits from this drain. The problem is how people are taking a large hit at one time that may not be there. In a perfect system, even for the people who have who want it, who have high assessments, it would be beneficial to them for a different, I would think everybody would agree they'd rather pay for this over many years rather than one lump sum. And that's what I feel is wrong with the code. Not that anybody shouldn't be paying into it, and not that everybody in the watershed does benefit, and that's it's just the way the system is what I do not agree with. And I do not like think that we'd be putting people in a financial bad situation because of it. And that's kind of where our hands are tied on the situation. It's not a real good way to do it without that happening. So we need a date and a time to reconvene.
Yes.
Like the 3rd?
Do we need to vote on the delay first and then come up with a date? Or do we do it all together?
Do it all together.
I think part of
Just
your motion is you're gonna
Adjourn
delay
and
it.
reconvene.
Okay.
Adjourn and reconvene at a later date.
What do we have on the August 20th, Rebecca?
We have 2 hearings.
We want to do it on a separate day, just so we have, okay. I do not particularly, I'm fine with most days, so it's kind of what the board's privy is. It just has to be after the 17th, because that's when the next commissioner meeting is. That way we can get,
Do we want to do it same day as the meeting, or?
it have to be in the afternoon. So we go till about noon. You want to do it on the 18th, 19th?
I would be free on the 27th.
I would say the 27th or the 3rd.
I'm sorry,
The 27th, does that work for you, Steve? And
27th? That's the only one available, yeah, but I do not want, if it's going to pass, I don't want to go much longer because of the time period to get contractor bids. We're really pushing it to get started this year, if we go much further.
I won't be pushing it to be delayed after this, so I want one decision be made in the next meeting, is my opinion. Either we do it or we don't at the next decision.
I'm good with the 20th or 27th.
27th? Okay. What time?
Non-meeting day, right?
Yeah.
So we can go,
We could start it at 8:30 or,
time you'd like.
Time do you, 8:30?
8:30. Let's do that.
Yeah, 8:30 on the 20th. That's in my motion.
I have a motion to,
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn and reconvene this public hearing on the 3rd of August, 2026 at 8:30 at the same,
27th.
I'm sorry,
It's all right. 27th of August.
Monday.
You said the 27th.
August 27th, 2026 at 8:30 at the same location,
Did y'all hear that? August 27th, 8:30 a.m. We'll reconvene this hearing. That's the motion.
Letters. We can send an updated assessment scroll to you with that commissioner amount in there, so that way you have an updated amount on what your estimated portion would be, if that helps. So it'll be at that $1,000 per acre rate. It should be, I mean, $1,000 is pretty easy numbers to work with. So if you know how many acres you have in the watershed, it should be easy to calculate, but we'll send that out with that reminder notice for the 27th as well, so you have that to look at.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn and reconvene on the 27th of August, 2026 at 8:30 in the same location. Is there any further discussion?
I would vote to have it finally decided on that date, so I will not push it out anymore. So anybody that's watching or listening, that will be the day we decide, in my opinion.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Let the record reflect that this hearing is not closed, but continued to that date. If there are no objections, this meeting will stand adjourned. If there are no objections, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time.